My name's Jane Ryan. I know about catchment management, and so I'm going to be upfront about how little I know about fish. Probably I know everything that Jared Lyon from ARI has taught me, and I've got to say he probably taught me everything I know about fish, but definitely not everything he knows about fish, so sorry about that. But I am here to talk to you about habitat. I guess Ian's taken some of my thunder because I'm going to talk about floods and the importance of floodplains. So we'll get going. Thanks, Ian. I just wanted to start by acknowledging that we're on the traditional lands of the Latchi Latchi, of the First Peoples of the Miller Mallee. Pay respects to their elders, past and present, and any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders that are in the room. This is Ian's graph that he's so kindly showed you before, so you should be all familiar with it. Yeah, that's right. What I wanted to show you though, so I guess Ian really talked about the lack of frequency of floods that, some of that infrastructure. So I start to, we lost a lot of drying phases in about 22. You got Hume that's made a massive difference, and you don't even have Dartmouth on, which obviously has made a massive difference. But the thing that I'd like you to look at for my part of the talk is really the length of floods. So the time that water spent on the floodplain, and probably now that we've got all the communities there, it's probably the part that's the most annoying, which is, when roads and schools and whatever, are all under flood. And that obviously happened in this area a lot. We're doing floodplain restorations around Gumbower, Guttram, Benwell. You've got a lot of communities that now, if these floods that, pre-22 were there, it would be really bloody annoying for everyday life. But they are part of the floodplain, and it's what we've lost. And you guys, no one knows more about that than you guys in terms of the fish. But I'm here to tell you that part of what the fish have lost is also the veg and the habitat, the fallen logs and the carbon cycle. So that's the important part that we're trying to restore. And I guess we knew that drastic action needed to be taken. So from a Victorian government, so that's what you can go me on out there. But as a Victorian government, we knew that we had to get water back. We had to recover water. So we've done things like decommission dams, decommission storages like McCowan, for instance, to try and get water back into the rivers. And we've been really successful at recovering water for rivers and for some of the higher parts of the floodplain. So River Red Gums, for instance. What we haven't been so successful at is getting water that is being stopped by all those regulators and weirs out onto the broader floodplain. So those medium and major floods just aren't happening anymore. And they've been taken out by the weirs, and nobody's talking about blowing up Hume or Dartmouth that I know of. So we've got to do something, and we've got to do something drastic, which means we've got to recover the water, but we've also got to do something a bit more active to get this water out onto the floodplains for the timing, duration and frequency that it needs. So when I talk about environmental water, I often get, that Murray's never been in better nick, and Kundruk photos always get shown to me. So yeah, we know, cease to flow. But yeah, you guys know, also massive floodplains, massive big floods that, absolutely took up, all of the areas that communities like to live on. Yeah, they're really massive dams. I don't know how often I have to talk to people about, just how effective and efficient Hume, Dartmouth, Eildon are. They really are very effective. They're at the right spot where they're getting the catchment flows into them, and they're being able to hold them in the highest part of their catchment to then distribute through the system. So I know I hear lots about our forefathers put them in good posies, and they really did. And I often get asked, why can't we have mid-Murray storages? And they're just not really efficient. Apart from now we know about the impact on rivers, they're just not efficient. They lose a lot in evaporation and transpiration. So, they really pick the best spots to put these big buggers on. I guess I really wanted just to reiterate how the basin plan recovered, a huge amount of water. So 30% of water went from consumptive use over to the environment to be used, and that's fantastic and gets us, as I said, rivers and a little bit onto the higher part of the floodplain. So what we're doing, our project, the Victorian Murray Floodplain Restoration Project, it's a mouthful, I just call it the Floodplain Restoration Project. What we're trying to do is make sure that we get those medium and major floods so that we get the full effect in those ecological communities of national significance. I guess we've had a lot of success. We know what we're proposing works because we have been able to water through the Living Murray program. I don't know, some of you might have heard of it, but we have been able to put in bits of infrastructure that help to either pump water into places that it hasn't got to or hold it there for longer. So using less water to be able to replicate floods, medium and major floods. We know it works because we've done it in a few places. Hatter is the obvious one that maybe people around here know, but we also know Gumbauer's worked quite well as well, so and had real impacts on particularly black box and red gum. Okay, here's the bit that I don't know much about, but you guys are all au fait with, and also Ian's already talked about it. Floodplains are really bloody important for fish. Sorry. They're important for connectivity, obviously. They're important for habitat. They're the two big things that I got told. And so I think it's really important that, that we need to sort out, part of the project is removing those blockages, work on things like the Kundruk fish passage, for instance, and we really, any infrastructure that we build, we're really cognizant of the fact that we can't have more blockages on the floodplain and the river. So we're really working hard to make sure that how we operate these things allows all the natural floods to come through, so we're not blocking those. And when they do block it, to hold water high in the floodplain, that we then get it back to the river in good time and in the timing for particular fish species. All right, so these are the 9 areas that we're targeting. These are areas of national significance. They're really critical ecological communities, and they're the areas that we think will get the most impact. They're also areas that if climate change has the impact that we think it's going to have, these are the areas that you would get water into no matter what, as drought refuge, as areas for resilience for other parts of the floodplain. That's all I was going to say. So the only other part is that it's a long process that we're about to start, which is the environmental effects statement. So if you would like to say positive things about the importance for native fish of environmental watering, that would be super helpful. Thanks.